Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I'm so excited today here on Life Signatures Radio. We are talking about a new series. We're talking about legacy. We're talking about juxtaposing your life between today and when you will be dead, the following day after you are dead. Think about it. What's going to happen? And yet I'm telling you, don't even think about that. You've got no power over it. The only power you have is today. The second that is here, this minute, this very day, that's where you have your power. You cannot be preoccupied in thinking about what's going to happen when I'm dead. Unless, of course, you're a father, you have very many kids and so on, and you want to take care of them, and you want to make sure that when you're gone, they are all supplied, and their houses, their land, and so on is in place. We all do that. But I'm talking about the aspect of people thinking and being preoccupied with, what would my legacy be? What am I going to, what are people going to say about me when I'm dead? What are they going to say about me when I'm dead? Don't worry about that. Let's see what today's episode brings as far as that topic is concerned. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Life Signatures podcast with Lawrence Namale. Lawrence is a life coach, author, and keynote speaker who loves to tackle different topics on purpose, productivity, and resilience. His mission in life is to awaken all your boundless possibilities available in you. Life Signatures podcast is dedicated to bring to reality every single person who knows that deep down in their gut, there's got to be more to life than this. And now, here is your host, Lawrence Namale.
I've talked about this before on some of this series or some of the episodes we've done here on Life Signatures Radio. It's about Oprah. Oprah Winfrey at some point in time was in a conversation with her mentor. Her mentor was Maya Angelou, and she was wondering at that moment in time, she had just built a stadium in South Africa. Not a stadium, what am I talking about? She just built an orphanage in South Africa. Not really an orphanage, actually a school in South Africa that was taking care of kids and so on and so forth. And so she was wondering, at the end of the day, probably this is going to be one of my biggest legacies. In fact, probably this will be my legacy when I am gone. And Maya Angelou told her, wait a minute, you don't know that. You cannot be preoccupied with what your legacy is going to be. It could be anything. It could be different from what you're thinking it is. Your work, now I'm paraphrasing, your work is to do what is before you today and to be faithful at it. The legacy is going to take care of itself. And that's how I want to communicate in these messages, especially to the old people, guys who have been our fathers and probably our grandparents. You're asking yourself, how am I going to be? You're so preoccupied, you guys in your generation. You're so preoccupied with how you're going to be remembered, right? What will people say? Some of you want people to be proud of how your kids turned out so that you can walk around with pride and feeling like I raised good kids and so on. Most of us want that. But at the end of the day, it is not up to you to be mesmerized and to be imprisoned by the thought of what people must do or what people must say about you when you're gone. Let me just get deep into this. When you get into a basketball match, when you're watching it, one of the things that you are mostly aware of is the ticking time. It is always there. It counts. Every time there is a timeout, the clock stops. In other words, all the seconds in a basketball match, they matter. Think about that for a minute. You see, someone said some days back, the reason as to why we live with no regard for seconds and no regard for time is because there is no stopwatch of our lives showing us how much time we have left. We have this illusion all the time that we have the time. And therefore you find us wasting our time, wasting our lives, doing things that don't matter. You find ourselves procrastinating. Where we're supposed to be working, we are sleeping. Where we're supposed to be doing something constructive, we're doing something destructive or something that is time wasting, because we are not conscious that time is ticking, like it is in a basketball match. You know how it is. Life is not like a basketball match where you can win at the last shot of the game, a 3-pointer in the buzzer, on the buzzer. That's not how life is. Life today, this second you're listening to Life Signatures, matters. The question I'm going to ask you is a very powerful question. Must you be here listening to Life Signatures, or there's something better that you're supposed to be doing? That's the idea about legacy that I'm going to tie in at the end of the day. I was watching the Afro basketball competition. You know, it was staged in Rwanda some time back in September 2021. Nigeria was facing the Ivory Coast and they were trailing by 8 points in the last quarter with 2 minutes to go. 2 minutes in basketball is how many seconds? Those ones who are mathematicians, you can know that. But it's a lot of time. A lot. Especially if the difference is 8 points. Because you can make 3 points in a second. In fact, you can make 8 points in a minute. As much as I watched I wanted Nigeria to win. I really wanted them to take the match. I knew that they couldn't pull off an upset in just 2 minutes. I thought so. The stage of life is the same stage of play. Any competitive play for that matter. That's where the stage of life is like. Once the match is live, once the referee has blown the whistle and the game is on, that activity you do within the live match must impact the result. Not after the final whistle is blown, within the live match. Take your life as that, an analogy. The live match for you probably is not when you were born, because someone else is taking care of you and so on and so forth. But I do believe the moment you're able to read and write, that's where your live match begins. The moment you're able to start making decisions and being disciplined, that's where your live match begins. And from then on, every second counts. The truth is that there are very many activities that you can do outside of the live match of your life. For instance, in the English Premier League, Arsenal were beaten by Minos Brentford in a live match that counted for points. They were beaten by Everton in another live match that counted for points. 3 weeks later, Arsenal thoroughly beat Brentford in a friendly competition that did not count much in terms of getting the points. It didn't matter. If we were to step back a little and check the days of our lives, we realize that we are living a life that needs impact. And that every minute, in fact, let me just say it this way, every day counts. Because when I talk about minutes and seconds, you might think I'm being crazy. Every day counts. Even the day that you're going to rest, it's documented that you are recouping, you're re-energizing, you're refiring yourself. Every single day counts. The question is, we playing a live match, or are we playing a friendly match? Are we even tracking our days? Are we even tracking our time? Are we playing a live match that can impact, give us points at the end, or we're just playing a friendly match? These ideas or these questions that I'm asking, they bring into context various things, and key of those things that I'm going to talk about at some point in time is purpose. For what reason are you and I existing? Why are we here? Every minute we exist in this live match, and we are engaged in a friendly match instead of a live match. What happens to our legacy? And you find that those guys who are not playing a live match are the ones who are, worried about what people will say about them when they're dead. Let me just tell you something, to be honest with you. I don't think for me it counts. I think all of us will need to get a higher standard of who has to say something about our lives when we are gone. Not a human, but God. If you believe in the Bible, we are told at the end it's going to be like, well done, good and faithful servant. Right? That's what we should be concerned about, not what will people say. People are going to be dead also. Right? Don't be boxed in by people's opinions and people's sentiments. Especially, this is crazy, especially when you're dead. What purpose? For what reason should you do that? So in talking about legacy, we are learning that the most important time is right now, and the most important thing is what we were created to do, which is our purpose. And we're learning that the most active thing we need to do is to be engaged in a live match, in doing things that matter. Alright. Tomorrow we go deeper. Until then, bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Life Signatures Radio. If you enjoyed today's show, subscribe to Life Signatures Radio on iTunes, Stitcher, or visit our website at lifesignatures.libsyn.com. Life Signatures Radio, fresh, clean, and inspiring.